Okay, so today we will be having a look at functions. This isn't a complete beginner's guide to functions, so I'm assuming that you already know a little bit about functions. But our key areas of focus are going to be composite functions and inverse functions, which are really important for grades. So what I'd do is I'd pause the video and I'd have a go at this. Okay, so now you can check your work. Here's the answers. I'm going to explain a couple of them, but all they're asking us to do here is to put in this number. So it's saying f of x is 3x, so it means we just put in the 4 into here. So we do 3 times 4. So you also need to be familiar with some algebraic concepts as well. Okay, the next one is that if f of x is equal to 4x plus 2, calculate f of 3. So we're going to do 4 times 3, which is 12 plus 2, which is 14. This third one is minus 2 squared. Remember, minus 2 squared is not minus 4, but it's 4. So 4 minus 3, that's 1, and so on. Even for this one, first you would do 3 squared. Then you times it by 3. So 3 squared is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 plus 1 is 28. Okay, so that is how you'd go about that. And now we'll have a look at composite functions. So composite functions is when two functions are applied. Okay, so you have an input, it goes through one function. We just tend to call it f and g, but you can call it whatever you like. So it'd be g of x, and then it goes into f of x, and then you get an output. Okay, so here, for example, if we put 2 in through the function of g, which g of x is 2x, that means I do 2 times 2, which is 4, and then I'm putting 4 through f of x, and f of x is x plus 3. So I'm just doing 4 plus 3. So then I get my output, which here is 7. So what's really, really important in composite functions is that if it's written like this, f of g of x, it means we need to do g first, follow it by f. So start with doing your g of x and then put it into f. And if it's g of f of x, it means you need to do f first, followed by g. Okay, so you do the inner one first, always. So let's have a go at this. So the first one is f of g of 1. So like I said, we need to do g of 1 first. G of 1 is just us putting 1 into the function g. So that's going to give me 1 plus 1, because I'm going to put 1 here, which is 2. And now I'm going to put 2 into f of x. So I'm doing f of 2 in x squared, which is just 2 squared, which is 4. Okay, so my answer for A is 4. Now let's have a go at B. So here we're going to put 3 into g of x. So we're going to do g of 3, which is 4, because it's 3 plus 1. And then we're going to do f of 4. So f of 4 is 4 squared, which is 16. Okay? And the third one is they want us to write this as f of g of x. So we get g of x, which is x plus 1, and we put it into f. But f of x was just x squared, so it's just squaring this whole thing. So my answer to f of g of x is x plus 1 all squared. Okay, so here's the answers. Have a check through that. Okay, let's have a go at inverse functions now. So first of all, I'm going to show you the graph of an inverse function. The graph of any inverse function is just going to be a reflection of that graph in the line y equals x. So the graph of this function is a reflection of it in the line y equals x. Okay? So this is now a mixture of composite and inverse functions. So I'd like you to pause the video. You shouldn't be taking longer than about 15 minutes for questions 6 and 7. So pause the video and then have a go. Okay, so here's the answers. Now I'm going to go through each one in a bit of detail. So with the first one, what we're going to do is we're going to find g of x, which is x squared, and put it into f of x. So x squared now just becomes my x here. So it's going to be 3x squared plus 1. The second one is g of f of x. So we start off with f of x, and we put that into g of x. G of x is just all of this squared. Okay, and then here we need to make them equivalent to each other. So we need to make this equal to this and then expand it out. Well, how do we expand this out? We think that there's two brackets. So we have 3x plus 1, 3x plus 1. And we do FOIL to expand it all out to get 9x squared plus 6x plus 1. Then we say equal to 0. And then we can factorize it to get x is equal to 0 and x is equal to minus 1. Okay, this is how we do it. Now for inverse functions, I haven't gone through this. I'm going to go through this in a bit more detail. But the way to do it is instead of writing it as g of x is equal to x plus 3, I'm going to write it as y equals x plus 3. And then I'm going to just do basic rearrangement here. So I'm going to do y minus 3 to make x the subject. And that's just for me to be able to easily rearrange it to make x a subject. But in essence, that y was x. So I'm going to write g of inverse of x is x minus 3. Okay. Now for this one as well, I'm going to write it as y equals x squared minus 17. I want the x by itself. So first I'm going to add 17 and then I'm going to square root the whole thing. So that's my answer. And at the end, don't forget to replace the y with the x. And then here, all we're doing is we're making it equal to each other. We want to make x the subject, so we're going to square it, again, expand it out, make it equal to 0, and then find out my two solutions, which here is x is equal to 8 and x is equal to minus 1. Okay. Now that was quite a short lesson, but if you didn't understand anything, write those questions down. I've also attached loads of questions for you guys to try, and then we're going to work through them and see which ones you guys struggled with. Okay, and next lesson, we're going to have a short lesson on direct and inverse proportion. Okay, so like I said, with functions, you do need to know a lot of the basics. So if you didn't understand today, it's because you probably don't know a lot of the foundational concepts of algebra and functions. So I would go back and revise that and then come back and try the questions that I showed you again. Okay, see you next lesson.